Well, hello and welcome back to Of Sleight of Men. This is a first for us actually. This is the first time we're ever doing a guest podcast on video, which is, I can always hide behind the audio only, I'm kind of like sit back in my chair, I feel super relaxed, but it's kind of weird to actually like do the intro on video, but it's fun. As you can actually see for the first time, or if you're listening to this, I'll continue. We are joined by Gaia Elisa Rossi. I have a little bit of a bio here for her. It's really really interesting, and I'm actually so excited for this podcast because I think this might be like I don't know. I don't want it to be like a repetitive. Oh, like the best guest we've ever had, but I genuinely think for like this is just a really interesting, fantastic guest that you're all going to enjoy listening to. So I'll give you a little bio, get you excited. So Gaia is the youngest Italian Magic champion and the only female to have ever won the title. At just 24 years old, she has taken part in prestigious theatre shows and television programs throughout the world, receiving awards and enriching her artistic repertoire through the study of dance, theatre, dubbing, circus, and singing. Gaia is also a licensed clinical psychologist, and her plan is to merge her science knowledge with her magic to create possible illusions, and we'll get much more into that in the podcast, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, quite the resume. Youngest Italian Magic champion, FISM finalist, an actual psychologist, not a fake one. Also helps for writing at One Ahead, and if I'm not mistaken, with the Vanishing Youth program. So a real big name in the Magic scene. Thank you so much for being here, Gaia. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me. And yeah, that was my bio. Oh my God. What am I going to say after this? Yeah, it's like, let's just take it like slowly and, you know.
We'll work through it piece by
Yeah,
piece.
exactly. But
Well,
thanks,
I,
guys, for
I,
having me.
I
I'm
have a
really
question about
excited.
one of the things,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I think I might have misheard it. Sorry to interrupt you there, because I honestly couldn't believe it, and I thought I misheard. Did one of those things was dubbing? You
Yeah,
also
it
do
was. It
dubbing,
was. Yeah,
so
yeah.
like
I
you
did
dub
study.
films or TV.
Yeah, because like in Italy, dubbing, because I'm from Italy, so in Italy, dubbing is a big thing. And I thought that I did that basically to learn how to speak properly when I'm on stage, in Italian at
Mhm.
least, because you can hear a strong accent in English. So that was my aim. And then I just fell in love with it. And then I continued, and it was mainly learning how to dub like TV series or movies, and it really helped a lot with magic because now I get to know how to use my voice and all of that. It really helps.
That
So,
is
yep.
that's got to be one of the coolest tips I've heard from someone on how to become a better communicator and presenter of magic is to
Just
dub
learn how
things.
to dub. It's a crazy one, but because I studied theater before, I wanted to delve more into that, and I just end up loving dubbing and carried on for a while with an academy, and then yeah, that
Wow.
was it.
I'm always amazed. Like, how do you find the time? Like, maybe I'm just like a loser, but I'm like, when you have like this massive resume of like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm like a dancer and I know how to do circus and I can sing and I can dub. I'm like, do you just not watch TV? Like, what's the secret to have so many
No, well,
skills?
she has to watch TV to dub it.
Yeah,
Well,
true,
yeah,
true.
absolutely. That helps. So the thing, my secret was that my parents are obvious magicians, but we're really into different kind of art forms. So like my
Mhm.
dad was a dancer when he was younger, like ballet dancer. Mom was an
Wow.
actress. So I kind of always, felt this air in the family when I was a child. I used to see them like rehearsing in our living room magic, and they used to like mix dancing and theater and all of that. So the answer is I just starting getting to be really close with all different kind of art forms as a kid, and then I just carried on with time to study them. And it was like playing at the beginning when I was a child. I would go to like dancing classes, and it was like someone can go to football. I went to dancing, and then added them bit by bit, and just delving into one, delving into the other one. And I've always kind of thought of as magic as a huge box where you can stuff put stuff inside. Like you can have the box and put dancing and dubbing and circus and whatever, and then choose, the different percentages of, hey, I'd like to delve more into theater and magic. Ooh, I like to dance more or whatever. It doesn't have to be a variety show, it doesn't have to be everything mixed up, but just the fact of having studied different things allows you to open your perspectives and choose what you enjoy more, or just have that background and then do magic and, I guess, know what you're doing, or knowing a bit more what you're doing. So yeah, that's kind of it.
So, like, why out of all these like incredible talents that you have, did you choose to grace magic with your presence? Why magic?
Grace magic, wow. Because I don't know, guys. Again, like my parents were hobbyists, so when I was a kid, anyone asking me, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" It's always been magic. I feel when I do magic, I don't know if it happens with you two guys, but you know when you just feel like you're breathing, it just comes up naturally. You just really focus on that. And then again, when I was a kid, I would go to dancing classes. I would go, then after a while I discovered acting and everything, like singing and so on. And then at some point, when I was around 12, I said, maybe close up is not really my thing. Like, I really love close up magic, but I felt like I needed a more physical approach to magic. And so because I started doing ballet when I was like 3.
Hmm.
I just started bonding ballet and magic. It just came up naturally. I was playing. I was a kid, so I was like improvising in my living room and all of that. And so mixing dancing and magic was the very first thing for me. And then I went on a stage and I tried that, and it worked, and I enjoyed it. And I just carried on with that. And in some years, I joined my local magic club, and there were labs where I could do some impro and try to see if it worked. And that's how I actually got, you were referring to it in the bio, into the magic Italian championships when I was 13, because I had this stage act where I would mix dancing and theater and magic. It was very new. People had kind of never seen an Italian magician being a female and mixing together all these arts. This story was kind of original because it was, so the story was about kind of a surreal story, like imagining a movie on stage. So everyone felt everything was kind of new. And that's why the judges that were old male people said, you know what, we're going to give this a try. Let's give her our trust. And thanks to them, that was the moment when I won the Italian Magic Championships, where there were maybe people from Spain, people from France in the audience, like organizers, gala organizers, and they said, oh, you know what? She's young. She's doing something different. Let's call her to France. Let's call her to Spain. And then the thing just carried on. And I learned while I was doing gala shows, looking around and seeing the other amazing artists I had with me on stage, learning from them, asking them questions and questions, suggestions about how to do magic. And it was around, those big FISM winners, like the people that win the most important competitions in the world. And I was there, a little kid, being like, hey, like, how can I improve? What can I learn? And they would give me, I don't know, anything regarding how to be present on stage, what books to read, what to work through, how to rehearse, and all of that. I learned it while I was doing it. So it was kind of a different approach, I guess, but it was really nice. And then that led me bit by bit into competitions, and then FISM, and getting to the finals. But it was a nice adolescence because I learned how to mix magic with everything. I enjoyed it, and FISM, I took a lot from it because I learned how to work towards a goal, and not just like buy a trick, perform it for 5 minutes and then leave it in the wardrobe, which is fine. I do it all the time. But like, if you have to actually work on something, I learned how to do it, with a structure and with someone great to teach me that. So I wasn't alone in this. I literally asked anyone I could. Even like, when you watch a gala show, there's jugglers, there's all kinds of artists. So I would steal from them all the info, and I learned with time. So that's kind of how the story went.
Wow.
How similar is your show that you did in the FISM stuff to what you did when you were 13 with the Italian Championship?
Very different.
How has it evolved over the
Yeah.
years?
It changed a lot because, like, of course, it was 13 and there were so many people helping me out because you can imagine how tall is a 13-year-old girl and how much she has to learn and how much I still have to learn because, again, I'm 24. So I still have a lot to, like, put on my table and understand. But it changed a lot because of all these opportunities where I actually could be on stage, on big stages, and face, mistakes, and actually see how the different countries react to your act. Because like when I did it in the Italian Magic Championships, the audience were just people from Italy, and then I went to France, and French people react differently, and then I went to Spain, and then Sweden and overseas. So it changed because I had to create something more international, and because I had the right people next to me. So all these artists I was asking suggestions to, they were giving me the right ways to like make this bigger, make this more understandable, make this more relatable. And then I learned with time, and now it's just something that I do in gala shows and everything. I enjoy it a lot. I'm telling a story to people, so it's not just like, hey, let me show you how many cards you can make appear, which I love card manipulation. Like I also have an act on that, and I love it. But I feel like magic needs meaning other than just the visuals. I'm a very visual person. I love anything that's like artwork, art forms, anything in the magic community that's like boom, and you got the effect. I love it. But when I do magic, I try to add something more. I'm still learning how to do it because, of course, like in order to have something to say, you have to live a life. You have to, encounter steps and so on. So
Yeah.
it's always going to be a work in progress, but that's what I try to do, and that's what the people I've worked with taught me. So again,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
cool.
it has,
That's similar to
yeah,
I think was it Markobi? So when we had Markobi on the podcast, that's how I say his name. I don't know if that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
When we had Markobi on the podcast, he was saying his number one secret for like creating great magic. Actually, he didn't say it was his number one secret. I don't want to misquote him there. But he was talking about how to create great magic, you need to live a rich life. And I think he was actually quoting Juan Tamariz. So maybe he was quoting Tamariz, or he was like adding his own thoughts to that. And he was like, look, like a lot of people think you just need to study magic. And Mark Kobe was like, no, you got to study, just got to live a very full life, and then that will give you the material to use in your magic. If you're just isolated in magic, it's only ever going to be magic, and it's never going to be more than that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
cool
so
to do so.
hard because like we are so used, like we love magic. That's the thing. So we love to just sit there and jam or watch, like 100 hours of YouTube with like the new things coming up. That's the thing. So it's really hard to just say I'm doing this because I like it, I enjoy it, but then I need to find extra like inspiration from other things. Like there was actually a director I was talking about to yesterday, like a drama director, and please let's go back to this topic later. I'll recall it to you guys because there's a big project coming up. But like I was talking to him and he was like, so basically his job is to have a person like a main character and create everything you see on stage. So going from the scenery to the how you just basically direct both the person, the music, the lighting, everything you see on stage. And it was like, I go to every single museum and gallery and I read every single book and I watch every single movie because the more you watch, the more you encounter, the richer you are and the more stimuli you get. So yeah, Benji, I I have to agree with Markovi. So let's see where this goes.
That's usually a safe thing to do, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. Let's be safe, but let's just experience things and choose what to incorporate in our magic. Then it's also a matter of that. Yep.
Well, I mean, I feel like this is kind of a perfect segue in a way then, because like obviously another massive part of your life is psychology away from magic.
Yeah.
So where did that kind of start? And yeah, I guess just like how are those two things intertwined?
So basically, I've always loved going to school, meaning that I loved what I was doing in high school. Italian schooling system is very different from other countries, so we tend to we are more focused on some subjects, and in my case, it was everything regarding like Italian and history and geography and ancient Latin and Greek and art history. So it was we would study math and science and all of that, but it was really like literature based, and I was loving it. But then I said, what do I want to do when I grow up? And magic would have been the answer, but I did want to go to university because I wanted to have a, I don't know, like that kind of safety net. And at the same time, I
Yeah.
was just didn't want to quit school.
So it's just to go to school for the experience.
Yeah, no, I actually was so scared of like becoming a full-time, like having magic as a full-time job. And it was like,
Hmm.
I love studying. Why not? Even if it's 5 years, because that's how it works in Italy. I can do it, but what should I study? And I was really lost because I didn't know what to do at uni. But then at some point, I read a book on basically, it's an Italian book written by a magician that's also a psychologist, and it's anything. It teaches you anything regarding how magicians think, which is also the title of Joshua Jay's book, but it's not. It's another
I
book.
was thinking that.
Uh,
I didn't know
it's
Josh was
another
Italian.
book, and I found it so interesting. It was really like delving into neuroscience and all of that. But there was one chapter that was around therapy. And in my life, I've never really encountered therapy before. So it was like, ooh, this is a thing that exists. Like, right.
Hmm.
And I fell in love with it because of the way the therapist and the patient interact. And it was like, that really looks like magician and spectator. Of course, now that I am a therapist, I'm like, okay, it's so different. But at that time, it kind of felt that that kind of interaction had so many things in common. And so I closed my eyes for a moment and I thought, how about that? Like, why don't I become a therapist? And then I mix magic with it, or like whatever happens. Uh, so I started studying
Magic therapy.
psychologist. Well, yeah, it was like,
I've,
let's see what happens. And the more I was studying psychologist, the more I would find things that were in common with magic. So right now, I am a clinical psychologist, like a real one, so not a fake one. I am patients, I'm happy. And at the moment, what I'm doing are three things basically. On one side, I am a psychologist, patients, and whatever you can imagine from people interacting with each other in order to feel better. On the other side, I'm a magician with my shows, and they're very art based, but there's also things that are more relatable to people, or it doesn't have to be so strange and surreal. It's also just me doing magic, but with a different background. And then there's the middle part where I make these two words, where I mix them. For magicians, what I do is I, as you mentioned before, write for one ahead, where I write about anything regarding psychology and magic. I never write about neuromagic because it's a topic that everyone has, explored, and so many great people and scientists and researchers have written about that and lectured about that. And I cannot bring anything new to the table because I don't have my own lab. They're great. I'm 24. So I want to be clear on that. I'm not like, hey, I'm the new one. Nope. They have done it really, really well. And I love studying all of that. What I tried to do was like, I am a therapist. That's what, it's kind of like the difference between me and them. And I also have this huge artistic background. So how can I like bring all of this together? So on one hand, I basically teach how and write about how psychology can enhance our way of doing magic in a practical way. So I give practical psychological tips that are science based. So I'm really big on that. And I want to make sure I say things that are appropriate and not like coming up with things out of nowhere. So that when people do magic, if it's either it's it can be close up, it can be stage, it can be street magic, whatever. It doesn't have to be just stage theatrical, heavy theatrical performances. They can A, know what is going on in their brain, B, know what's going on in the spectator's brain, and C, know how to enhance their performance in general thanks to psychological tips. It sounds so like, oh my God. In the end, when you read it, it's pretty clear and like kind of step by step things, because it has to be accessible for people that don't have a psychological background. And that's my aim with One Ahead. And then I started lecturing about the topic. Magicians are liking it because they're like, oh, I've never really heard of this. And that's kind of what I'm delving into more with magic. And I try to make it practical. For example, in my lectures, I teach the theory, so the practical ways to enhance your magic through using psychology. And then we go through like tricks together. They can even be like card tricks where we actually apply the things that we've talked about so that it gets more, solid and grounded. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm bonding psychology and magic uh, in a clinical setting. So it's not with real patients. I mean, it's not with patients like in a therapy setting for now, because I want to be able to research before. It's not just like, hey, let me show you a card trick. But my dog died yesterday. Nope. Like, no, that's never gonna happen. um, because many magicians actually ask me something like, "Oh, couldn't you use a card trick to?" Maybe yes, but I want to find the right ways.
Is this your dog?
I'm actually quoting things people asked me before, so I'm not saying it just out of the blue. But what I'm working on and what I'll start in a couple of weeks is a program in my hometown prison. I live in Turin, in Italy, where FISM was like in 2025 and in summer. And basically, I came across an association and they got to know I was a psychologist, I was a magician. And long story short, they asked me to create a school of magic in the local prison. And it was like, okay, that can be done. I can teach the tricks. But I want to do something more. I feel like we can add a psychological rehabilitation layer to that. And that would make me feel very useful. And even if I don't change anything at all, because of course situations are really hard and we all have our personal opinions on inmates, on the prison ward. Maybe some of us have friends or family, or I don't want to delve into that. But I do want to share with you guys the fact that, those people can be there for a bad reason or for no reason whatsoever. But the stories are big and are stories of people that are suffering a lot because the situation worldwide of prisons and are bad, and there are so many people where like cells are very small and people suffer a lot from a lot of mental diseases, and they are in struggle. And the issue with that is that other than the punishment part, which is fine and okay, and there's law that regulate all of that, prisons are also born for a rehabilitation purpose. And at least in Italy, I know about other countries as well, but I'll talk about Italy. That's not really happening as it should be in most of the cases. So when they asked me to create a school of magic, I was like, magic is such a strong tool. Like psychologically, it enables you to learn so many things. Just think about how much you learn from being a magician and how much different it makes for you as a person. But I was like, I want this to be psychology based too. So the thing I'm working on, and I'll start actually doing in a couple of weeks, is this program. It's going to be for some months, and then the people are going to perform in the end with a show, like an inside show for the prison, so not for people on the outside yet. And then we want to make this a bigger thing where it's a lasting thing that Turin's prison has, where people through magic learn coping skills for real life. Meaning that these people are going to get away at some point or they're going to be there forever, but they need to deal with everyday situations. And the deal with this program is to teach them through magic how to delay gratification, which is something they struggle a lot, how to manage anger, how to work towards a goal, and how to actually see that they learned these things through magic and apply them in real life. So we're going to work on that too, because you can say, yes, I learned how to rehearse a trick for hours and hours, but then I go out of prison, I have to talk to a person that's going to hire me. I have all this background in my life. I have to build my life from scratch. What can I do? So we are going to support them with that too. So that's the I would say the big psychology and magic thing I'm working on right now, and I'm supported by other psychologists. I talked about this too. So many magicians. I find a couple of them that did perform in prisons for a lot of time, even in different parts of the world, and I'm so supported with this. And I'm also very excited because I feel like it can be an important thing. But again, bit by bit, because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to ruin people's lives. I know that it's not through a lab that everything is going to change. But if I can make a little difference for them, if this can be helpful even for one of them, I think it's, better than nothing. So let's see what magic can do for us, and I'll let you know in a few months how it goes. So yeah, that's the kind of work I'm doing right now. And then of course, psychology and magic for magicians. I love it so much. I enjoy it a lot. I have all the feedbacks in the world because people are enjoying it. Others are like, oh, you could also research on that, and I go, oh, that's so interesting. A person lately asked me to, think about lighting, and that can, lighting a stage or lighting even in close-up magic, and now that can change the spectator's perspective on what you're doing. And I was like, I'm gonna research on that, and so it's a work in progress. But yeah, that's what I'm doing with psychology, guys, and then back to the theater part, there's this big project that I wanted to talk about, because I was thinking that life was bringing me into the psychology and magic side, but basically there was this big theater director that asked me to tour with the national, how can I translate it to English, wait, basically it's the National Theater in Italy. I couldn't translate it better. So
it works. I think I understand.
and so I don't want to say I'm gonna go back to the heavy theater and magic performance, but that's basically that. So we're working on a monologue. There's gonna be this huge comedy guy. How do you call it? Wait.
Comedian.
Yes, thank you, comedian. I was lacking the word in English. This is big comedian, and I'm gonna basically, while he does this whole monologue and everything, I'm gonna be there as the co-main character and do magic, but highly magic and drama and singing and ballet and whatever you can add inside. So it's gonna be a cool project. We're gonna tour for 1 year and a half-ish, something like that. So I'm so excited. I'm working on, the script and understanding what kind of magic you can perform so that it doesn't feel cringe. It's also good for the people because, of course, that's
if you figure that out, tell us, because
I'm struggling, but luckily I'm not working alone, so it's a work in progress. But because it's strange for people to just see a comedian talk, and then at some point there's a magician coming up that's also dancing, and so that's what I was talking about before. It's like the fine line where people understand what you're doing in terms of magic, understand the style, and then when it clicks, they can actually enjoy what you're doing. Because then if it gets too strange and all of that, you just go, what did I just see? So that's the kind of balance we are trying to figure out. But I'm excited. So
yeah, that's awesome. Do you feel like Italian audiences are a bit more accepting of things, are a bit more out there? Because obviously it's such an artistic country. So much of our art comes from Italy. How do you feel like Italian audiences are with magic and that sort of thing?
So that's a super tough question, Jacob, because, okay, we are really into art, meaning that we have a huge history about theater and about visual arts and all of that. But at some point, culturally, everything kind of shifted. At the moment, I would say that the Italian audience is not the ideal audience a magician would have, because we have no great magicians. One thing that me and my boyfriend, who's also a magician, that actually came here into your podcast,
Giacomo.
We always talk about, is Italian too, of course. So we always share thoughts about this, trying to understand what to do in our own country. Because When you get away from Italy and you go to Spain or France or the US or UK, it's kind of normal to see a magician coming up in a restaurant or in a bar and start performing magic, or to go to a comedy club and then at some point a magician shows up and does a 10-minute thing, or to go to theater and actually watch a magician do a show. Here in Italy, it's not the same. Like we might have some people doing some magic in restaurants, but when you actually approach a table doing table hopping, you have to actually tell the people, hey, I'm a magician. I'm not only a kid magician, which, by the way, it's not saying only a kid magician, because if you see Mario the Maker, is great. The only thing is, like, in Italy, when you say magician, they think very cringe, clownish, in a cringe way, kid magician in a cringe way, that doesn't know how to interact in the real world. That's what they think.
That's what they all called me in high school. That's crazy.
Me too. So that's the issue in Italy. We don't have, and what I always say, what we always share with Giacomo is that in Italy we don't have the Darren Brown of Italy. We don't have the David Bowie of Italy.
You need like that
Yeah,
that person that brings it into the psyche.
That's right. Like, we do have two people that are great, 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 great artists, but the issue and the strong part that actually made them who they are now, where you say their names and people know who they are, is that they are comedians that do magic. And like, one of them has more magic into it, the other one has more comedy into it. But the issue, let's put some, let's take issue as a word and circulate. But like, the issue is that you see magic as something that needs to be linked to comedy. There can't be magic that's serious. You can't have mentalism taken seriously. You can, but it's not in.
People won't take you seriously.
I mean, it's not like football, where even if I don't know anything about it, I know that what a football ball is, and there's players and two teams and all of that. People don't have that background in magic in Italy yet. We hope it's gonna change. We are doing our best to change things, but that's the issue. So when you ask me, so how's the situation like and everything, that's why with this big project I'm so excited about, we, meaning like the team, are struggling, but in a good way, meaning like, how can we make this believable for people? How can we make people enjoy this? We are thinking, how can we let Gaia enter on stage so that people understand that she's a magician, get what she's doing, not cringe and all of that? Because that's the deal. Like, when I perform in Italy, normally it's for gala shows, but it's clear that it's a magic gala show, so people get it. They see 10 magicians, so it's like, okay, it's magic. I get it. Magic can be good, but of course they're not something that you would go to every Friday night. Like, there's a couple of them. I mean, there's maybe 10 of them in Italy, but it's like yearly in all of Italy, so it's not a lot. And then maybe you would see magicians in weddings or like, for corporate events. But again, there's that barrier that you have to cross, where people accept that there is a magician at their wedding. That's the issue. If, of course, people are from Italy in the wedding, because then where people from other countries come to Italy to celebrate.
Because they like legit think it's cringe.
Yeah, exactly. So they think that, and then after 2 minutes where you perform, you establish yourself, they're good. They are super happy. Then they start following you on social media and then call you back. But you kind of have to make them used to the fact that magic exists, that magicians are a thing. And
I guess we're doing two different types of magic. I get why they're scared now.
Still saying with psychology and magic. Magic is a real thing. So that's the work we have to do. But I accept it. I'm excited about it because it's nice to think.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's hard. I have to say, like, when I do easy gala shows where I do my FISM act abroad, I really see the difference in how people are so excited from the beginning and how people go, yeah, this is a thing for families, and then the adults enjoy it and they're like, okay, and the kids too. But like, you kind of shift perspective and accept that magic can be an art form, magic can be something more. That magic can bring you something more in terms of like meaning, tell you a story, you can give a message to people, And that's what, and it's also our fault because, like, again, there's not a Darren Brown in Italy yet and everything. So we as Italian magicians have to work harder towards that, but we can make it work. I don't know, bit by bit.
Yeah. That's cool to have like an issue that you're really interested in that you're talking about, and then be like, oh, I'm actually going to go tour all around Italy and try
Yeah,
and make magicians more accepted.
yeah.
It's quite an interesting thing.
Guys, that literally happened yesterday, so I'm super fresh with this. Like, I
Right.
knew
Congrats.
about this project for, I've known about it for months, but like yesterday, the final decision has been made. And
Wow.
so I'm excited and scared at the same time, very scared. But like, yeah, because before that, in Italy, I used to do, and I am doing right now, shows for, like the same things that you can imagine, like single gala shows or like corporate or private events whatsoever. But the thing that people struggle the most is like the initial contact you have with the client or with the theater, explaining, hey, this worked in other countries, we can try that. It's gonna be fine. And then you go there, they have fun, they call you again, and it's okay. But it's just that initial. And then of course, like, there's this big thing where, like, I'm a female, and in the US, that's accepted because there are female magicians, and in Italy, it's not really a thing yet. So, I mean, I was very lucky because, again, my parents were magicians. Since I was a little kid, in my local magic club. People knew who my parents were, even if they were hobbyists. So I wasn't like alone there. But when I was a kid, I would go to my local magic club, and I was the only female. Now things are changing because when I sometimes go there and visit the little kids sessions, there are female too. But when back then, even if I'm 24, so it wasn't that long, it wasn't so long ago. I remember that I was doing that because I loved magic, thanks to my parents. Because otherwise, you go there are kids like male, and you go, okay, so how can I do that? And again, I was really lucky because I fell in love with magic thanks to my parents. Otherwise, I don't know if if things, just stopped me at some point because I was, different. But then on one side, being a female helped me a lot because I was a kid and I was a female magician in Italy. No one had ever seen something like that. So they were like, oh, that's interesting. And then in a lot of other situations, that was something that put barriers ahead because I would go to gala shows when I was 14, 15, but even now I go there, and if people don't know me because, I don't know, they're maybe from the tech or not the people that hired me, or like not the artists that I already know, they go, sorry, but like assistants cannot be here. Like, you are gonna, see how I do it. And I go, okay, so don't worry, like, I'm a magician too. I mean, it's fine, but they assume I'm the assistant, which, again, we need assistants. It's all good. It's all fine. But the only fact that because I'm a female, 100% she's going to be an assistant, that's kind of like, and I remember that when I was under 18 and I was traveling with my dad normally, that would bring me everywhere. We would go around with like suitcases and everything, and there was me and him. We would enter a theater or whatever location I would work, and people would go to him and say, so you're the magician, and so, okay, this is the changing room and everything. And he was like, he's the girl, like, the dad bringing her around. And I would go, okay, sorry, yeah, it's me, and and then again, after a while, once that gets done, you're good. But it's that initial step where you have to kind of overcome that thing that if you are a female and if you are from Italy, or if you're a female, you're not from the US or from countries where female magicians are a thing, you have to kind of overcome that may kind of stop you if you don't encounter the right people. Because I was very lucky because I was there. I was with them, with the big artists, and I could learn a lot from them and fell in love with magic and wanted to go on and on. And they were so supportive with me. Without them, I couldn't have, continued and carried on and learned so many things. But if it weren't for them, at some point, I think that stopping could have been a thing because you don't really, And there's one thing that Rory Adams wrote in his book, which is like, that made me think, because I've never really thought of that, which is that if you are a female and you start doing magic, you don't see a lot of female like role.
Don't have role models.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it was like, you're so right, because I've always like looked at, like, I love Lina Leonard, I love Juliana Chen, but it's like two people. Now there's more. I have like an entire community of like female magicians I look up to and I'm friends with and everything. But like, these people are my age or a bit, older, but then we are all together. Like, people that are actually like, as you could watch at, I don't know, Divernon, they just don't exist. There's not as many as in the male community. So I've never really thought of that as a kid. I've never really thought, hey, that's a thing too. But then when I read that in Rory's book, I was like, that's so true. Wow. So again, it was a thing back then. Now it's still a thing, but it's changing. And I'm really happy that when I perform when my mates, other female magicians in the world perform, we get asked a lot from young female magicians, hey, how can I learn? How can I start? And all of that. And it's a thing that happens to me. It's a thing that happens to them. We always share this because we're like, good. Like, this is changing. And even if it's just like, just telling them, hey, so this is where your local club is, or here's my email. You can contact me anytime you want if you want to have any suggestions on like books or products or whatever. It's just, it makes you feel like you are helping like young magicians grow and find themselves, even if there's not those big role models. And so that's kind of it's nice. It feels nice. I was lucky. I didn't feel that obstacle, even I mean, unless where people would tell me, hey, assistant. But other than that, there weren't huge major obstacles. But yeah, it's good to try to support them, because it's good to be, just be human beings that like magic. Why should we say female, male, whatever? Like, hey, we love magic, we love tricks, we love what's behind magic. It's just like, let's share it. Magic is something that goes beyond borders. We are here talking, like, you guys are in different countries as I am. People are going to listen from all over the world. Like, this is precious. Magic goes beyond language. You can do magic in any country and people would get you. The reaction, the emotional reaction we have to magic is surprise, and it's a primary emotion, and people feel it in the same way in all the countries. Just think about that. They express it in the same way, but kind of different ways. But then it's that, wow, like it's great. So, yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I dropped off.
Kind of
No, you're good.
situation.
My connection went off a little bit during that, so I look forward to catching up on any of it that I missed. So I hope this question is like still on the same track of what we've been talking about, because I've not been fully locked into it.
We're talking about like female in magic and like how the situation is changing and how to support us regardless of gender and language and whatever. Yeah.
So would you say you're like optimistic about the future of women in magic? Because I have met magicians who like sadly just think like it just is what it is and it's not going to change, and like even if they want it to, that like I met people who are like, oh yeah, I wish there was more women in magic, but like, oh, I don't see it happening, kind of thing.
So of course, I don't have the truth in my hands, and again, I'm 24, so whatever I say in 2 years, talk to me again, and I'll say the complete opposite. I hope not, but like.
No, I say that to everyone. I'm like, just don't take me too seriously. I'm really passionate about this, but don't take me too seriously.
But again, I still have a lot to learn and to discover. What I would wish is that we would find a moment where we don't really think gender. So we go, whatever it is, whatever you feel like you identify yourself, it's okay. So we don't even have to think female and male, and we can open up our mind, like constrictions and everything. But I know, I think I know that that's kind of impossible. Like 100% fully where everyone feels equally, like the peace in the world. It's just, I think it's not gonna happen. I really hope it does. But what I can say is that even if it doesn't reach that 100% level of, hey, we're all together, fine, no anger, no nothing, blah blah blah. If we try bit by bit to even try to change our minds and to talk about it and to kind of push and try to think outside of the box and outside of what has been done up to now, the situation can, get better. That's what I think. So the final answer is, maybe it's not going to be 100% where we're all happily friends and everything is okay. But
What?
yeah,
No.
oh no, but it is getting better. When I was a kid, it was totally different. Now it is really different, and I think it's just the percentages are gonna grow. They're not gonna reach like the perfect peak where everyone is okay. But again, I really hope it gets better. And because Jacob was mentioning it at the beginning, yes, I do work with Vanishing Ink, and I take care of the youth program in London. And now I got involved into the Magi Fest to like learn from them and to
International.
see what happens. I was there on an internship this year. I was like, just teach me what I can do to make London's youth program better. And Carissa Hendricks, that's the girl that's running it in the US. She's great. I was there watching her work in awe, in like wonder, and it was like, oh my god! And I was there taking notes and everything. So I really like that's what I say when I say just let's talk about magic and share and all of this. Like it's trying to make things better, and that's what Benji, when you say, is this gonna change? Blah, blah, blah. These are the practical things that can make it better. It's like vanishing in, creating a program where they basically receive a scholarship to be there. They meaning like people under 18, so teens and kids, to be at Magi Fest or to be at the session, so in London or in Ohio, for free, and join the convention and having activities planned for them where they have a room with the artists of the session or Magi Fest that go there and lecture and share magic, and they're all together, just being with their pals of the same age, and meeting the people that are gonna be friends. When you meet a person in the magic community, and then after 20 years, 30 years, you're still friends. That's the place where that happens. And at both Magi Fest and the session, I've been running it in London for 4 years now, and I've noticed from 4 years ago to now, there's more female. For me, it's crazy because I again, every time I'm like, this is so good, but like there's more females. It's not 50-50, but they are, and you can see that.
But it's not 99-1 at least.
Exactly. That's the thing. And what I notice is like the way female magicians love magic feels different from how guys love magic in a way. I don't know, like. And then of course there's individual differences, so I don't want to say female, male, whatever. But even if there are these differences, then you can feel them practically and both practically and in more like situation moment. When you're there in the room, you feel like energies, and you're like, okay, yeah, they feel kind of the same, of different. Even if there are these differences, there is this baseline where these kids from these two programs are so in love with magic. And when we bring in the artists, like we had Daniel Garcia and Joshua J and Paul Wilson, Nick Germain, so like big names, and these kids get to be there with them, teaching them things, both with theory and practical things. Like it's so cool. They ask so clever questions. Like the questions they ask come from both the fact that they paid attention to everything they said, word by word, for the entire time, not missing a bit, taking notes because they're there, like with pen and paper and not phones. They're there with pen and paper, taking everything down. And sometimes I actually watch them like revise and like study what they write. So I see them with the notes and say, oh, like this is interesting, I should learn this. So not only they pay attention to everything, but they have this mind and brain just sparkle, where they are able to ask questions that are out of the box, that do not go under the schemes that maybe are from have been more years into magic community thing. So is it magnets? Is it that? Is it that? So you go into the method, or you go into the, I don't know, how did you create that? Like, even if they ask questions about creativity, they are so creative into how to ask them. Like, and I learned so much from them. And most of the times I take more notes in that room other than in the main room. And they're gonna kill me when I say this, but it's true, because also the artists then get all like excited about this, and they go, "Oh wow, these questions are so worth it," and they go and they, so there's just a great vibe. So yeah, there are more female magicians in those rooms, and I've been growing and growing. Yes, sometimes female magicians tend to think differently from males, but then finally the thing is, they just all love magic. They don't care. I mean, it's more of a art like worry, like, oh, there's less female, there's more female. But then for them, it's just like, we're here, we're enjoying what we're seeing, we love magic, we just want to learn. It's great. It's just great. So
yeah. Thank you for answering that.
no, so, I mean, sorry if I didn't say like, yes, 100% it's gonna be.
Well, you can't, and that's what I was getting from what you're answering. That was kind of my realization as I was asking. I was like, well, in some senses, it's a bit of a silly question, because the answer is just like, it depends. Like, that's kind of in our hands, and so.
I mean, I wish I had an answer, because it would make me feel so. When you just know things about the future, and you're like, okay, I can relax and chill. But we can't, and the only thing is like trying to make a difference if you want to, even bit by bit, and then enjoy the process and see where it goes, and try to think of magic as something that we all learn and love, regardless, where we come from.
Hopefully there's a day where you don't have to like ask the question, right? I feel like that's how you've actually made it. I feel like as soon as you have to ask like, oh, as soon as you stop asking how can we help women in magic, then it's probably bad. But as long as we have to ask the question, there's probably still an issue.
There's this big talk on if you should say female magician, because you're saying female magician, why isn't it only magician? And then it goes, like people split into the I'm just gonna call myself magician, and into the, hey, actually you have more gigs. So it really depends. In Italian, it's easier because we have like masculine and the language changes.
The word is masculine.
Exactly. So you just get it, and people go, because in Italian, if you say female magician, we call it maga, which is like they think of like people fortune tellers. So every time I go, we say the Italian closest word is like illusionist. Sorry, that's the first brand. Illusionist, which is again
illusionist with an I.
Yeah, exactly. So it's they can feel if it's a female or a guy, but is less fortune teller, and so they said they don't go, oh, read my hand, because no, that's the
It'd be like saying you're a witch, basically.
Exactly. No, it's a thing. If you're a female, if you're a female and you live in Italy, that's the two things you have to be mindful of. Like, magicians don't just do cringe magic, and B, I'm not reading your future, okay? And it's all good. It's just having fun together. So
it's just a card trick. I mean, if I had to make a prediction, I think there will be. I think it's like you were saying, you don't notice it so much in the, okay, last week I went to the session, next week I go to Blackpool, maybe there's no difference. But 5 years from now when I go to the session, 5 years from now when I go to Blackpool, I bet it will be different. It's kind of like that Martin Luther King, I think it's Martin Luther King quote, like the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice, something like that. He definitely wasn't talking about magic when he said it, but I do think it's applicable.
So cool. No, absolutely, man.
Also, I have to take a second to be like, you've literally said so many insane things. I don't want like the listeners to feel like I'm just like, I'm trying to even like, because this is why I wanted to have you on the podcast, and I'm so glad, because I wrote all these questions down and I didn't even have to ask them, which is perfect. Like, you just went through everything, most of the things that I wanted to talk about. But I mean, just like, I feel like I have to do justice to you to like just go over some of them, because I feel like we jump from thing to thing to thing. But I mean, one, doing the work in the prisons. I mean, that's just incredible. I think like you're really brave for that. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it, you know, as like a 26-year-old white man. Like I would be like, yeah, I don't know about that, you know. So
Yeah,
like you doing that, I think is really brave. But also I love I really liked hearing how you talked about like the humanity of the people. That made me. I haven't thought about. I don't know. I mean, I don't often think about prison reform in general, but as you were talking about it, it did make me. I don't know. I was just like, wow, you really have like a just a very kind perspective on it, and I think that's like very admirable. And then, I mean, uh, just like the stage show, it sounds so cool. Like I said, I mean, I was able to say a few things there, but being able to go around Italy and, as you said, be a magia or whatever, an illusionist, and try and raise the social image. Like I said, like if I don't know, I don't have a cool Martin Luther quote to back it up, but I feel like someone has to be the first person to do it. You know what I mean? It's like for everything that has to happen, it's like there has to be like a first person, you know. And I think it's cool. It's just cool to be like, I don't know, you know. It's like you can be that first person, you know. Like when you say like, oh, there's no one to look up to in Magic. There's a woman. It's like, well, hopefully there's some girl out there. I very much doubt it, knowing our listening numbers, but hopefully there's some little girl out there that's listening to this and being like, oh, you know, it's inspiring. And if they're not listening to it now, maybe they'll listen to it in 10 years. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it would be remiss of me not to kind of go back and talk about those things, because I think it's like it's very inspirational, and I think your story is just like, I don't know, very kind-hearted,
thanks,
you know.
man.
And it is nice as well to just be like you say, it's like obviously equality, women's perspective in all forms of life makes life better. But as you're talking about your approach to magic and stuff, it's I don't know, it's just really fascinating to me. So thank you for being so candid, and I hope you don't feel as if you're monologuing, because it was absolutely
Email
fascinating.
rambling, so it's
Well, they don't want to
we
listen
tend
to
to do
me and
that. It's
Jacob.
okay.
Yeah,
They
they
don't
don't
want
want
to
to listen
listen
to
to
us.
us talk about, well, no, especially like women in magic. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why should anyone? I don't know. Why should we be the ones
Yeah, it's
spending
only going
half
to
an
be
hour
20
talking
years
about
till me and Benji are the older white men at the Magic Convention. It's only because we're a bit younger
Guys,
now that we.
you're so no, that's not true. You know, I would have been here if I felt betrayed or whatever. No, no, it's okay. But Jacob, thank you for this. I don't know if I'm more scared for the prison project or for the theater tour. I have to say, because like
it.
prison thing is like, yeah, male adults. I'm 24. I'm a female, so it's like you can feel that. They will feel that. I'll have to establish myself in a way where we can actually, like work together instead of like me being teased, which I don't care because like you're thinking rehabilitation, but it has to be important for them. It has to be useful for them. That's the thing.
Mhm.
So the hard thing will be, as you said, we are young and you have to kind of set boundaries in a way where they don't feel judged. They feel like they can open up. There's so many things to work on, so it's yeah. While for the theater thing, Jacob, thank you so much, but it has to be a cultural shift. So I really hope that where if people don't
Has
laugh
to start
at me
somewhere, right?
for
At least you're doing something.
if people don't laugh at me for what I'm doing on stage, I'm already happy. Of course, like both Giacomo and I always think in terms of like trying to bring something more, and then it's a step by step thing. I'm 24. I haven't done anything. It's just like these things I talked about were things I love. These are the things that make me happy, that make me think I like my life, like I want to work. And then of course there's moments where I'm like, oh, too many. What do I do?
Mm.
And where I'm like, I don't know what to do and where to turn and all of that. So, um, but I really hope that even if it's not me with this tour, where it's pretty impossible that everything is going to change, but I really hope that many people in the magic community in Italy and in the countries where magic hasn't been established yet, just take the step where they're like, we can do something more. We can try. And if this sounds so peaceful and like, yeah, let's try all together, but really like, if we just try to break that boundary and it's just like, it's not just one person, but it's more people, and that are, like not afraid of being judged, then the changes can be made. So yeah, and I don't know, I surround myself with people that kind of get this, and I can, like, they are big like people that motivate me so much, with their life choices, with their life choices, and with their everyday, what they do every day. And that's how I try to, like, step by step try to go there. But again, it's something big, so let's not make this the, yeah, it's gonna change the world, because it's not gonna happen. I just want to try bit by bit, and see where
But
it goes.
I will say though, I do like hearing that. I do like, how do I phrase this? I'm gonna mess up my words, but hearing you talk about it has made me feel for the first time in a while like that magic has a role to play in the world. And like this, I think I remember when we started this podcast, we always had a question that we would ask guests, and at the time it was like so deep, right? And we were like, look, magic, like why am I, every time we had a guest on, we were so insistent on asking them this question of like, why magic? Like why are you directing your creative energy and like your ideas and your thoughts toward magic of all things? Like why magic, and what's the meaning and all this kind of stuff? And I feel like in the years since, we honestly don't ask that anymore, really. I think mostly because we're just, I don't know, a little less. It's just not that deep anymore. It's just kind of like, I don't know, like we've all got to pay rent. You know what I mean? Like we're just we're
It
just
makes
trying
sense.
we're just trying
Makes sense.
we're just trying to get by as well. You know, like I don't know, like
You have to buy
maybe it
food,
isn't that
like, in
complex,
the end.
but yeah, but I think listening to you talk, it was just nice for a second to be reminded that actually magic is a meaningful thing, and you can, whatever you're doing in life, you can see it. You don't have to, but you can choose to see it as a vehicle for positive change in the world. That was just like a nice refresher that like, oh no, like don't give up hope on that.
That's,
That is
yeah.
still a possibility.
Thanks, Benji. Like, that makes me so happy, because it happens to me so many times where when you're like thinking of a method or of an effect or of something, and you get stuck into the methods, or the, just the rambling, like, mind thing that we magicians do, where we go stuck there in our circles, and we just forget that we are performing for people.
Hmm.
And there are people in front of us, and magic is meant to be shared. That's the thing that I myself, every time where I try to create something, I get stuck at some point, because I like, and that's where maybe you kind of lose some motivations too, because you're like, I don't know if I like magic at all, or yeah, I'm working on a thing, but I'm not really satisfied, and all of that. At least for me, that kind of comes in the moment where I forget that actually magic is meant to be performed, and not just, I mean, I love the rehearsing process, being there in front of the mirror or the camera or whatever. But then if you don't share it, you don't get the energy back, and you don't see that it's there for a reason. So yeah, that's, yeah. I feel you. I get you,
Yeah,
Benji.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that.
Well, I mean, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I would love for a moment if there's anything that, like, obviously I saw on your Instagram that you had like a book from One Ahead or anything like that. Anything, I'm sure people, if they are like us, love listening to this podcast. Uh, and if they didn't, then well, how the heck did you get here? Like an hour and 4 minutes in. Yeah, I don't know what you were doing, but if you if people are interested in hearing more from you, Gaia, where can they go, and where are the best places to to support your work?
Anywhere on social media, writing Gaia Elisa Rossi, that you will find spelled on the name of the podcast, so don't worry about that. So if you write Gaia Elisa Rossi on Facebook, on Instagram, there is the website as well. On Google, you'll find me, because, like, it's a strange Italian name, and like, there's just me. So that's where you can find me: Instagram, Facebook, my website. I update everything I do, so you can just go there, write me, give me feedbacks, even if you arrived up to here in the interview. If you want to share something about, I don't know, how you felt listening to it, if you have any insights about it, suggestions, anything, I'm open to it. I love talking to people. Please, like, again, magic is meant to be shared, so just write me. Approach.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Gaia. We really appreciate it. We'll have to have you on again because it seems like in a year from now, you'll be able to update us on how all of these projects have gone. So I'd
Yeah,
definitely be interested
I
in
hate magic and
that. Yeah. Oh no.
there. Thanks.
And you know what? Men suck, and men do
Yes,
suck in
thanks.
magic.
No, I don't believe that. I don't. Guys,
We'll
thank you so
see.
much
We'll see.
for
One
having
year.
me.
1 year, a lot can change.
I really it's okay. It's okay. I'm not gonna answer this. Guys, thank you so much for having me. It was really a pleasure. I really enjoyed this talk because I felt like we were like at a cafe talking, and it felt great. Well,
Perfect.
thank you for having me.
Like,
Bye, everyone. Ciao, ciao.
ciao,
Ciao.
ciao.